This is a guitar from 1901, and it's in a horrible state. It's up to me to make it shine again. And though as a luthier, this is something I have dreamed about many times, I also feel the weight of responsibility it comes with. I mean, this is serious business. Long time has passed since this was built, and the time and several reparations gave us a result bounds and scars in it, making it no longer playable. I'm going to restore it in the Anjuda's way, with love and time. This is going to be a full restoration, from the ground to the roof. That is why today we are going to focus only in one part, the top. But who made this guitar back in the beginning of the 20th century? I'm lucky to have the label, and although there is a big stain on it, the year is crystal clear, 1901. The manufacturer, on the other hand, took a little more investigation, but at the end I found in the internet just the same label in a glorious state. So there they are, M and B Casasnovas. And just a little more research and I was finally properly introduced to Miguel and Batolomé Casasnovas. This guitar has been in the shop for months. It came with another guitar, even older than this one. Both were made in Mallorca, which is an island. A year and a half ago, the customer moved to Madrid. In terms of humidity, there is a big difference between Madrid and Mallorca. Being an island, Mallorca has a high humidity level as average per year, while Madrid is a very dry place, most of all in summer. So the guitar has been all these years, from 1901 to 2020, living in a place with a high humidity level. It was even made in that environment. And suddenly, more than 100 years later, it comes to a very dry place. And while both guitars had already cracks, the change of environment was terrific for both of them. They were completely dry, and new cracks and deformations appeared all over them. So as soon as they arrived into the workshop, I placed them in a controlled environment where I can give them moisture bit a bit. This process took more than 6 months, only to take this guitar to the state you are watching now. Unfortunately, I don't have any record of the guitars when they first arrived. It was before I started with this channel. So, after all that time waiting, I can finally start with the restoration. It took days for me to decide what's the next step, because anything I do on this guitar has pros and cons, and the only thing I can do is to be as sure as possible of what I'm doing and accept that any decision I made has a downside, and this now is a good example. What I'm doing is to remove the varnish from the top of the guitar. Yes, the original varnish. I can hear many luthiers screaming at the screen that removing the original varnish is sacrilegious. But this top is really dirty. And it's not only dirty, but it has other products that aren't the original varnish on it. Luckily for me, the guitar was varnished with shellac, which can be removed with some cottons, pure alcohol, and patience. Lot of patience. I could do this way faster, scraping or sanding that layer, but first, this method is less aggressive to the wood, and second, while I'm removing layer by layer, I'm learning how it was applied, and it was a magnificent job. And the wood underneath was prepared with perfection, with an even and soft surface to receive the varnish. Now that the varnish is gone, I can take a closer look at the cracks. This one here is new and unrepaired, but these other ones are old and has been fixed in the past. That means that I have to remove that old glue before my reparation, whatever that is in the future. This residue here is some kind of cyanocrylate, most often known here as superglue. The good thing about cyanocrylate is that it dissolves in acetone, so I can use that to clean it. But the reaction is very slow, so in big chunks of glue like this, I can help myself with a little scalpel before the cotton. This spot here is the jewel in the crown of the king. I just don't know what that is. I tried different solvents, but the result was close to zero. My guess is that this is some type of polyurethane, but applied only in one spot, probably to reinforce that area. But all of this is just too weird to me. Sadly, there was no other option than scraping. So I took some tools and started with the job, looking for the best method for me at that moment to get the best result possible. The downside of scraping is that some fibers of wood are removed. That means that that area will appear more clear than the surroundings because it's not oxidized yet and it didn't receive UV light. And most important, that it will require sanding it before varnish. Now that every bit of the old varnish is gone, I can just clean the surface once again with some alcohol. This process you have seen me has been both tedious and entertaining at the same time, because although I spent a lot of time doing the same over and over again, I've learned a lot about the guitar and that has value for me. I had the chance to read the wood and feel it, get used to it. That is going to be helpful in the future for this restoration. As you can see, the guitar came with a lot of grime and dirt, with more than shellac on it. Now I have a beautiful surface of wood to work with, clean and ready for what's to come. That's all for now, but this is just the beginning. What about this guitar is coming soon? So if you have enjoyed this video, please consider to subscribe and hit the bell, because this restoration is going to be even more interesting in the next video, where I'm going to remove the back of the guitar to take a good look at the interior. So until next time, see you.